guys ever heard the TLC song No Scrubs? It's talking about, you know, girls not wanting guys that have just no direction in life, no purpose, no money, no results for who they are, just, you know, bad manners, bad responsibilities, no responsibility. It's funny, I'm just driving home right now in LA, and that song came on the radio and I was listening to it, and it just kind of sparked a bit of a personal thought for me that I wanted to share with you guys, kind of from my heart, from my own experience. And it's not about girls, it's not about you know, being a scrub, but what it is about is getting to a stage in life where you kind of should have your life together and you just don't. And you don't have enough money in your bank account, you don't have any savings, you don't have anything to show for the work that you've put in. And you know, the big part about Limitless North here is if I can save someone else from going through that, that is the purpose of this channel, is to inspire you guys to live right, to do your finances right, to increase your wealth, to do business right, and to not get to a place where you've worked hard but you don't have anything to show for it. And so for me, just to share a bit of my story, I started my clothing company, Elevated Clothing. You can see it right there on my sleeve. I started this company when I was 16. I grew up in Northwest Montana, so I've been doing it for 15 years. I'm 31 now. And I just kind of built my business, but put all of my money back into it consistently, like year after year after year. I never had anything to show for it other than a growing company, which I thought was great, because I thought someday I'll build this company big enough that I'll just be making millions from it, and it won't matter that I struggled for a decade and didn't have any money, because I will build it to a place where it will provide abundantly for me. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that thinking. I mean, there's truth to it. My company has grown like crazy. I'm making good money from it. I have worked really hard to build a great brand and a great business. But the problem is that I never saved anything. I never understood what to do with my money, and so I just spent it all. And I didn't spend it on myself. I didn't spend it on fun things. I spent it on my business. But I wasted it as well. You know, I tried so many things, and instead of just being very specific with what I put my money into, I used all of my profits to just test things and have fun with it. And I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars doing that. And then flash forward to life in Los Angeles, where life is kind of hard down here. Rent is expensive, you know, things are busy and crazy, and you just have to be on top of it. And this is a city for work. It's a city about grinding and pursuing your passions, but doing it specifically and 100% of the time. You don't want to live in the city if you're not pursuing your dreams, or if you're not living out your dreams. And so I found myself down here right after I graduated college in 2010, and here it is 7 years later that I've been here. But somewhere in between that time, I just realized that I didn't do this right. I don't have any money to show for myself, and I have a fun business and a great business. I get to travel all over the world. I make okay money at it, but I don't save my money. And so what's the point? I don't have any investments. I don't have a retirement account. I don't have a bank account hardly. So what's the point of doing this? Yeah, maybe it will pay off and make me millions in the next year or two, but what have I been doing with myself? And so I thought that somewhere along the line. And where it really hit home is I started dating this girl that I was really in love with and really liked her, and you know, everything was great. But the problem was she started getting really stressed out because she wanted to see that I had my life together, that I had money, that I had savings, that I wasn't going to be living paycheck to paycheck. And even though I had a great business that made me money, I didn't know how to save that money. I didn't know how to provide for the future. And it was just constantly going out, and that stressed her out quite a bit. And you know, there was other things about the relationship, and I'm not going to talk about that in this video, but it's just the fact that I didn't have my life together, and I didn't have a savings built up, and I didn't have a retirement built up, and I didn't show that I was responsible with the money that I was making, because I didn't know what to do with that money. And so even at 26, 27, 28, I was broke. And I was proud of myself because I knew what I had built with my business. I knew how hard I had worked. I knew what my work ethic was. I knew what my potential was inside. I knew that I was going to be something someday, that I was going to work until it paid off, that I was going to make something amazing out of my company, that I was going to be incredibly successful at everything I did because that's how dedicated I was. And I knew what I'd built with my business from nothing to this thriving brand that, you know, is one of the largest companies in the wakeboard industry and the action sports industry that people all over the world love. I had a branch open up in Australia, a branch open up in Poland. You know, I went to Sweden with it, and I was just able to travel the world and have all these amazing athletes and great things going on and all this exposure, and I was selling product everywhere, and so I was super proud of what I'd accomplished, and yet I just didn't have the results to show for it. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, that's kind of all that mattered to the outside world, is where are the results, where's the money that you've made? And so my warning to you, because I experienced it myself, is don't get to your late 20s or your early 30s and not have money. It's so avoidable. And if you're listening to this and you're a young entrepreneur and you're building your business, you probably have a similar mindset as I did, which is just put everything you have back into it and work 18-hour days and grind away and work until it pays off. But the reality is, you can do things differently, and you can get to the end road where I was and have a completely different life than what I had built for myself. If I had been saving a small percentage of my income for a decade, I would have had an amazing bank account saved up. I would have been able to, you know, show my girlfriend at the time that I was capable and responsible, and I just didn't know to do that. And so life kind of caught me off guard, even though I thought I was doing it right. I thought I was doing an amazing thing by working so hard and building a business, but life caught me off guard. And I don't want it to catch you off guard. And so my warning to you is, don't get to your late 20s, early 30s and be broke. Now, how do you avoid that? Well, the biggest thing you can learn is what to do with a dollar. And there's lots of videos where I talk about that. I break down how I handle my money now. And everything I learned, I primarily learned from Jim Rohn and The Richest Man in Babylon book. And I would highly, highly encourage you to read that book. That will change everything for you if you're not currently doing this. But the rundown of it is, every single dollar that comes in, every dollar of profit, you need to pay yourself first. You have to pay yourself, and if you don't pay yourself, you'll end up broke. You'll end up having spent all of your money on bills and utilities and rents and obligations and stuff and waste it, and you will never have anything to show for yourself. And so you have to learn to pay yourself first. Now, we all hear that, but what does that actually mean, to pay yourself first? How do you do that? The best way that you can do that is by taking every dollar of profit that comes in. So if you're an employee, every dollar that you make is profit. If you're an entrepreneur, you have to figure out what is profit and what is cost, right? So you get a paycheck, but you had to sell product or whatever, so you have to take out the cost, and then you're left with your profit, and then you divide every dollar of that profit in a very specific way. Now for me, it started with just 1% of my profit putting into a retirement account for myself. Not really a retirement account, but a future fortune account. It was a separate bank account that I would not touch for any reason whatsoever, except for investing, so that that could make more money for me. In a sense, it's creating a goose that lays golden eggs. And so I would put 1% in, and then every couple of months I would shift that up a percentage as I thought I was able, because I didn't feel like I had any extra money at all. I was always strapped. But I just slowly started putting money into this bank account by percentages, little by little. So a percentage, ideally it would be 10% or more of your profit goes to you, goes to your future fortune account. And that is an account that you do not touch whatsoever, except for investing in a way that will make you more money. And that is your fortune account. Every day you get to add to your fortune, which is so exciting. There's lots of videos where I go into detail with that, so I'd encourage you to watch those. But ideally 10% of that, 10% goes to charity, because God first, and you want to build into the good things of this world and build into His kingdom and share. And as you've been given, so shall you give. As you give, so shall you receive. You know, what we give, we get in proportion to what we give. And so we want, that's not just a financial thing either. That's just a concept of how we feel about life and how we live a better life. And so you want to give. So 10% to yourself, 10% to charity. And then you have to set aside taxes, obviously, so they don't catch you off guard. And then you want to invest 10% back into your business, minimum 10%. Now, you may get ambitious and do more, but honestly, you don't necessarily have to. If you're just investing 10% of what you make back into your business, you're gonna be much more specific with what you spend your money on and much more detailed. And the problem with me is I was just spending on everything I could to try all these things, but I never got serious about it, which was the problem. And so just 10% back into that, and then the rest you can spend on everything else in life, your rent, your utilities, your bills, your debts. And if you can split up your money in the correct way, you can change your life, and you will get to the end of your 30s, your end of your 20s, and you will not be broke. You'll have money set aside. You'll have, you know, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank if you would do this consistently. And can you imagine how different that would be? Even if you still haven't built your business to where you want it yet, if you would consistently pull from the profits and put it into an account that you do not touch other than investing to make you more money, you will ensure that you'll never be broke. And that is probably one of the best tips I can tell you. It was pretty heart-wrenching, and it was a big heartache for me to go through that, to feel like I had the rest of my life together. I love who I am. I'm confident with myself. I'm so thankful for who God has made me to be and who I've been able to become through mentors and people that encourage me and love me. I went to college. I have a college degree. I built this great business. But one thing was missing. I didn't have my life together. I wasn't responsible. I kind of just on the outside looked like it was all falling apart, even though on the inside I knew who I was and I knew what I had created and I knew who I was gonna be. But to convince somebody of that when I didn't have any money was a pretty tough thing and a pretty unfortunate thing to have to do. And so I don't want you to get to that same place where you're confident in who you are and you're proud of what you've built and you're proud of the work that you've done, and yet it's just not good enough for somebody because they need to see that you'll be able to provide for them. And we can call them gold diggers, we can get upset about it, but it's not that at all. Like, every woman wants to be taken care of. And it's our job as men, as providers, to take care of our family. And if we can't show that we're able to do that, of course there's going to be some doubt and some worry and some fear in there. And I just don't want you to have to go through that. So learn how to handle your money. Learn how to disperse your money in a way that you will save up and have a future fortune account so that you will never be broke again. And the other thing is, yes, go work hard. Yes, work incredibly hard, but learn to work smart. And don't just put in 18-hour days just for the heck of it, doing menial work, busy work that you think is helping you be productive, but in reality, you're just doing work and you're stressing yourself out and you have no kind of life to show for the hard work that you're putting into it. You want to create the good life for yourself. You want to create balance. Now, you can listen to guys like Grant Cardone who say they don't want balance. There's no balance in life. They're just there to work and sell. But that's because they've found a way that works. If you understand a system that works for you and gives you money, then by all means, go work 18-hour days at it and get your payday. But don't work your 18-hour days just to figure it out. You have to have balance. You have to have sleep. You have to think. And if you are well rested and you can actually put thought into your business, into your strategies, into your systems, into your processes, then you can try right things and smart things, not just everything, and that will save you so much time. This is the 80-20 principle, Pareto's law. Go look into that. Tim Ferriss talks about this so well, about just that 80% of what we do provides only 20% of our results. So 20% of the work that you do is providing you with 80% of your results. So if you can cut out that 80% and just focus on the 20%, life looks so much better. And that's what guys like Grant Cardone and Gary Vaynerchuk do when they talk about no balance, because they have the 20% dialed in and they know exactly what they're going to put their time and their efforts into that's going to give them the return and the reward. So I really hope this is a good warning to you guys and a good inspiration to just change the way you're doing things. And I hope you can sense my sincerity in it, because it's kind of a personal story and it was kind of a heartbreaking thing. And to be honest, it's tough. It's tough to feel like I know who I am, but the world doesn't. The world's not proud of what I've accomplished, even though I am. And I thought these results were so great, and yet nobody else seems to appreciate them because my life doesn't look the way it ought to look. And so you want to create the right kind of life for yourself, and and you want to invest in yourself, and you want to not be broke. So I hope that inspires you guys. I'm Kai Block with Limitless North. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you in any way or encouraged you, would you just give it a thumbs up? And of course, would you subscribe to the channel? And I'm looking forward to working with you guys in the future and just hearing from you and collabing and talking. So leave some comments in the comment section. Let's talk. God bless you guys. Have a great day.